And he's had the luck and he's gone for it. And absolutely against Ian Wright. He's had none of the rubs.
Well, I think the handshake is about to come. Yes, Kevin Shaw, a dramatic and totally convincing victory over Ian Wright. 21-8. How far is this young man going to go in this tournament, I wonder? The pressure mounting on young Kevin Shaw again. The 21-year-old from Bolton. It's looking good. It's looking very good. It's looking beautiful. Hey, that could be the one. That might just be the bowl that takes him into the semi-final. And suddenly, the pendulum swings. The pressure now on Alan Broadhurst. Kevin Shaw goes to pick up his second bowl, wondering whether he's going to have to bowl it. It depends on this one. If it stays out, no, the handshake has been done. And this brilliant young boy, Kevin Shaw, goes through 21-16. A superb performance, and he's in the semi-final. Well, a chance, a great chance for Kevin Shaw to go into the final. He's holding one. The short bowl is a long way away from the jack, so I don't think he has to worry about promoting it. If he can drop in on his own bowl, that'll be enough. It's there. It's there. Yes! 2 to Kevin Shaw, the handshake, and this bright young man from Bolton is in the final in his first attempt at the Bass Masters competition.
Well, we have a full house here for the final, and what a miserable lot they are. And big money, ladies and gentlemen, big money to be played for. £7,500 to the winner. I know you want to give a nice Ellesmere Port welcome to the two finalists, Brian Duncan and Kevin Shaw. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the final is just 2 minutes away. Time for the players to have a brief official warm-up.
Brian Duncan apparently having forgotten his gear. So he's off the green to get some last-minute bits. Time. So Brian Duncan has now found what he wanted. I think it was probably a jack he'd left behind. This man who had to dig down for something very special to get this far. Now he can reflect on that remarkable semi-final recovery and look forward to the final itself.
Well, I looked in 2014 down in the semi-final that I'd gone really, but I produced a good strike and got out the next end, and obviously I'm delighted to be in the final. And looking ahead to the final, myself and Kevin have just played pretty well, and I just hope it's a good game and hope we get the right result.
Well, he too, this boy Kevin Shaw, is looking for the right result as well. Young man who's clearly enhanced his reputation this week. He certainly surprised a few people in the Bass Masters. And I'm just wondering whether he's surprised himself as well.
First game I played, I was under a bit of pressure with John. He got a really good start on me. Once you get away with a game like that, you feel like you can go all the way, possibly. If you want to win something, though, you want to be beating Brian on the way. There's no better player to have to play in a final, so I'm really looking forward to it and just give it my best shot.
Well, it's good for the players to get a feel of the green just before such a prestigious final as this. Already this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as you've seen, we've seen two really remarkable semi-final matches, hugely entertaining. Let's hear from one of the losing semi-finalists, Gary Wallace. He's over there with Rob McCaffrey.
Yeah, well, the bookies make Brian Duncan 5-2 on favourite. He can get 7-4 against Kevin Shaw. Gary Wallace, who lost to Kevin in the semi-final. Fair prices?
Yeah, I think wherever Brian Duncan starts, he'll always start favourite. I think the crowd were entertained to 2 remarkable semi-finals. I just hope the final's just as good, and I hope both players enjoy the game.
Kevin kept his nerve well against you, didn't he?
Yeah, it was tremendous, really, all through the game. We had a very sporting game, which is what I think everybody wants to see. The result was close. I wish it had gone in my favour, but not to him, maybe next year.
I'm sure there was a rush of money for Brian Duncan after his tremendous performance in the semi-final against David Copeland.
Yeah, Brian showed what a true champion he is. To come back from 2014 was a very good achievement, and he wants to, you know, feel proud and pleased about that achievement, and I hope he goes on and plays a good final.
Pin you down in one word, who do you fancy?
Putting me on the spot a bit, but I'll go for Duncan.
Thanks very much, Gary.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Gary. Referee for this afternoon's final, the man they love to hate, is Frank Kitchen. Frank, what about the state of the green and the conditions for this final here today?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful, and has been all week. It's been a credit to the Woodland staff. It's absolutely beautiful. I think we're in for a great final.
OK, Frank, well, it's going to be my job to toss the coin. Brian, do you mind if I ask the youngest player in the tournament to call heads or tails? Kevin? Tails it is. Oh, crikey, it's gone too far. It's heads. Brian, your choice. Frank Kitchen, the referee. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the final live at the Woodland Hotel this afternoon.
And there's a tremendous crowd, as you would expect. Here, it's just after 4:25 this Sunday afternoon, and lovely summer sunshine bathing this arena with light and a big audience all the way around, settling down for what everyone anticipates is going to be a brilliant game. A game between the great master, Brian Duncan, and a young pretender for the Bassmasters crown, Kevin Shaw, putting up his first bowl. And I suspect, Brian Brett, that there might be little signs of nervousness in Kevin Shaw's early play in this final.
Be desperate not to let Duncan get away from him. We've seen a few breaks in the competition that have been decisive. Duncan's quickly settled. They were both practicing the same corners, filling it up a bit earlier. I think there's going to be a fair amount of corner play.
Kevin, the shot very much against him at the moment. He's not arriving. This, the biggest test of this young man's nerves, of course. It's been a hard week. But now the final, with the cameras looking down at his every move, a big audience, a critical audience, of course, here, as we always get at the Woodland Hotel. And first blood to Brian Duncan. As Brian Duncan sets his second mark.
Not fully to the corners, because a few yards beyond the jack is some rough country, and they don't really want to take a chance. Let's have some nice, clean running, good leading. Duncan will be happy. The crowd are delighted. Right on it. Very, very difficult for Kevin Shaw to disturb that. Got to be absolutely right.
No, it's about 5 inches off.
The voice of Frank Kitchen, retired ex-rugby league player. Remember him as a three-quarter with Lee. Kevin faced with a bowl no more than 2 or 3 inches in front of the jack, and he's going with weight. Knocked his own out.
Duncan, 2.
And so that's 2 for Brian Duncan. And these are unsettling moments for the 21-year-old Parcel Force officer from Bolton, Kevin Shaw. And Duncan, of course, is now immediately on his favourite mark. The bowl coming towards the camera there, down into what is in fact the sort of right-hand corner of the green as we look down on it. And you can see the shadow of the tower with our camera on the top, looking straight down at that bowl coming in, or the jack coming in, and now the bowl. And he's found the mark immediately. And this is a slightly different Brian Duncan to the one that we saw earlier in the tournament, where a lot of the time he was having to dredge down and come from behind. Here he is building a lead. Kevin is just wrong, only just though. But that's clearly the best bowl that Kevin's delivered so far, so maybe he's now going to settle down. Well, that's a fairly wide target. Kevin had a bang at the last end. He's going to have a bang at this one too. Here it comes. Flown past. And that is 2 more for Brian Duncan.
Duncan, 2.
Kevin Shaw, reflective as he comes down the green. And he's going through, I suppose, the sort of feelings that he had when John Bancroft was racing away in the very first match that Kevin faced. But remembering back to that one, Kevin was 9-0 down after 6 ends. He was 19-13 down and looked as though he was out of it. But he still won that one 21-19. That against a former champion. Now he's up against another former champion. Kevin just failed to make contact with the shot bowl of Brian Duncan. Brian creeping up there for 2. And
That one's 2 feet off.
lovely, delicate style that Kevin has, but he bumped that one away. And therefore it won't have the legs to go as far as he intended. And that's 2 more to Brian Duncan. A single, having won the toss, Brian Duncan, and then 3 doubles, one after the other. Duncan now 46 years old, and the remarkable thing is that before young Kevin Shaw was born even, Brian Duncan had won both the junior and senior Lancashire Merit titles, and a whole flock of others as well. Well, he found a very good line, but it's gone out at the back. I don't think the bookmakers were all that generous in their odds for this match before the start, were they, Brian?
They weren't giving much away. 5-2 on. That was Duncan, of course, and no wonder with bowls like that. You could get 7-4 Kevin Shaw.
And if you're not a betting person, 5-2 on means that you would have to give the bookmakers a £5 note on the expectancy of getting 2 back. Plus your stake money, of course. Or what's left after the tax has been taken out. No tax. No tax. Well, that's another heavy blow for young Kevin Shaw. He's now reached the same situation that he was in against John Bancroft in his very first match in this tournament. He's 9-0 down. Oh, the leading of this man, Brian Duncan. Now, Kevin, you look to have the right weight. Whoa, 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 yes. Well, that'll do him some good. Not only was it a good bowl, but the crowd let him know that they are very much with him. Oh, yes. That's the mark of the master. Is it going to get there? Is it going to get there? It's trying hard. It's won it. 2 good bowls from Kevin Shaw in that end, and he's ended a run of 9 shots. Single then to Kevin Shaw. He's 1-9 down. Kevin shows the block to Brian Duncan, as the rules demand. Remember that the jack, or the block, is biased just as the bowls are. So it's important for bowlers to know which way the block is going to turn. Fair lead. Hey, this road looks good. It looks very good. Oh, it looks beautiful. It may just have run out. Got to wait for Frank Kitchen. Want to know, he says. Well, I do, Frank.
Gone out.
It's gone out. Given that a very wide travel, but it's not going to beat his first bowl. So Brian Duncan's back in the driving seat again. He's holding 1. Changed his bowl over. Oh! Well, I tell you what, Brian Duncan's heart was pounding a bit there with that collision job. It fell his way, though. He gets a single out of it. 10-1, he leads after just 7 ends of the Bassmasters final here, live at the Woodland Hotel at Ellesmere Port.
This is travelling, Hugh. Needs a connection and doesn't get it. But you feel for Kevin, don't you? He's used to playing in front of big crowds. When he won the Isle of Man at the Villa Marina, and that's from 572 entries. There were a couple of thousand there, all winning him on. They like the kid.
Whoa! It's passed by, oh, a good 1.5 yards. Duncan needing to make quite a correction on his first bowl. Is it going to run out? No, it stays. Hey, chances, chances. No! Unlucky. A full contact then, and he would have taken the shot. They'll wait now. 11 to Brian Duncan. 1 to Kevin Shaw. They're going back up now to look at the head and make sure that the score is right. And the players break off for a moment or two to take a little liquid refreshment. We'll break off at the same time, but the game will be here, back in action live, when you return to us.
Welcome back. The players are still taking a drinks break at Thirsty Work here at Ellesmere Port this afternoon. Brian Duncan leading by 11-1 against young Kevin Shaw, 21-year-old Kevin, youngest player in the tournament. And I would think, Roy, a moment or two for him to take stock of what is a very difficult situation for him.
Yes, I think he'll be glad of the drinks break. Brian won't be so glad because he'll want to get on with the game and continue with his break. And Kevin will have to think very carefully about what he's going to do. He's tried to match Brian in the corners, but it's a real tough task. And really, I think what he ought to try and do is to go back to the mark where he beat John Bancroft across the middle of the green. So really, he's got to gather his thoughts and then get back in it from there.
Of course, of course, as far as Kevin Shaw's concerned, he had a similar deficit against John Bancroft in the first round. Maybe he'll be looking back at that and trying to gain some encouragement from the way he came through that ordeal.
Yes, it's a different situation now, of course, because here, this particular situation he's in now, it's absolutely mega. He's in the final of the Bass Masters at 21, just 21, playing against not John Bancroft, but Brian Duncan in absolute irrepressible form. And to me, he looks in the same kind of form as he was when he absolutely destroyed Tommy Johnston. And just before he played in the final, I just had a quick word with Brian Duncan, and I'm sure I saw some pound signs in his eyes. And when those are there, he's tremendous.
Just a reminder, £7,500 awaits the winner of this championship. Brian Duncan, very much in pole position just after the halfway mark as we rejoin Hugh Johns and Brian Brett.
Yes, just to underline that, Elton, not only is it £7,500 for the winner, £3,500 for the runner-up, and £20,600 for the entire tournament, the biggest cash prizes in the whole history of Crown Bowls. This is a mega tournament, and as Roy was saying, there's a mega star down there with his eyes on the big bucks. Kevin Shaw with so much to do. And that's another two, perhaps. It's certainly one to Brian Duncan.
One playing, yes. Duncan, one!
One it is. So 9 ends of bowls completed, and young Kevin Shaw has scored in only one of those ends. Brian in mean mood down there on his the mark that he's gathered so many of his shots throughout this 4 days of bowls. It is a sweet style that Kevin Shaw has cultivated since he first started bowling some 10 years ago. His father Ken got him interested in the game of Crown Bowls. Brian, you notice, keeps his left hand on his left knee when he delivers the bowl. Well, he's got two closest at the moment, as Brian, but they're some distance away. A chance for Kevin to get in and win that block. But no, that has gone out. Looks like another two for Brian Duncan.
Yes. Duncan, two.
And already, sadly, we're beginning to wonder, Brian, if this is going to be the most comprehensive victory in the Bass Masters. So far, I think John Bancroft's destruction of Joe Badbury, 21-8 in 1986 was the
yes, and 2 years
biggest
ago,
demolition job.
Yes, 2 years ago, Colin Trousdale 21-9 against David Richardson. 14-1. We've had words with Kevin's parents, of course, Stella and Ken, and they say they never give up. They're down below and their fingers are crossed. They say he's dangerous when he's behind. Well, he's a long, long way behind now.
Well, there have been times in this tournament when Brian Duncan looked as though he had met his match. But until they finally totted up the scores, you could never say that. And applause for Kevin Shaw, who has managed to find a good bowl. just always wonder, though, what Duncan's reply is going to be. What about the weight of this? What about it? Unlucky.
I wonder if he's going to play this last bowl, Hugh, because another turn on Duncan's blue ball, and it's counting. Full of danger.
You'd be unlucky, he's not touching, but you'd be unlucky to knock him in. I'd have a look if you want.
Oh, it's too late to look.
Ball's on its way. I wouldn't be surprised if he pushed that up there to save carrying it.
Yes.
Definitely not going to have any effect on the head. Kevin, grateful to take a single off the great man. That's just 2 ends that Kevin has now scored on. But he has got the block back. $12 chalks difference. As Kevin sends this one out just about up on the top of one of the 2 crowns that we've got here at the Woodlands.
But that's desperation, isn't it? He's just trying to find somewhere he can bowl to, but he's not led, Hugh. He's never had a chance to lead, and he hasn't.
Well, Brian has beaten him. Oh, Kevin, I'm afraid that has given up every chance in the world for Brian Duncan to score another 2 here. And that's what he's got.
Duncan, 2.
That's 6 doubles. Brian Duncan has chalked up now. Because the block wound up more or less in the middle of the green, Brian is able to trundle out towards his favourite mark, down in the corner there. Oh, what a lead. This man, who has created such a reputation for himself and for the game of crown bowls in the past 30 years, showing us why he is #1, why he is the king. 4 times the winner of the Waterloo Handicap, even having to give to every man he plays. Holding 2, it's all against Kevin. Desperation, having a bang. Got one of them, but left one.
Duncan, 1.
17-2. Oh, what on earth can Kevin Shaw do to ruffle the composure of Brian Duncan, who looks as though he's on his way to become the first man in the history of the Bassmasters Championship to win the title twice. A winner back in 1984 when he destroyed Peter Richardson 21-9, looking as though he's going to wind up with an even bigger demolition job on Kevin Shaw. Oh, well bowled. Ah, there again. It slid past far enough to give Brian Duncan the confidence to feel that he can beat it. Bit more, bit more, bit more. No, I would think the yellow bowl is on. We wait now for Frank Kitchen to run round, the referee.
You're in, you only have to turn it over.
No, he's given it the other way. The yellow ball certainly, and that's encouraging.
And again,
no
Kevin's turned his bowl over. Couldn't find anything with it, though.
They believe in me. Hey? Shaw, 1.
.317. Kevin tries a bit of land down here. Perhaps to get some extra encouragement from his family, who are leaning over the rails, looking down at the head. That's a good lead. Pulled up short. Now, Kevin bowling with a little bit more confidence now. As his girlfriend Steph on the left, his mother Stella in the middle, and his father Ken trying to urge their son to do something. He walks over to have a word with them, looking for encouragement. Oh, it's not going to make it. Or is it?
Well,
yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yep.
Duncan, what?
So Brian takes the opportunity to bowl along the side of the green so that he can get back into his favourite corner.
He didn't fancy the other one, Hugh. He was ideally placed for the other corner, but he's not having any of it. And why should he? 18-3.
Bowling finger peg with the bias towards the crown, so the slope of the green works against the bias and the bowl runs almost straight. Almost straight, but for Kevin Shaw, not straight enough. And Brian fell into the same sort of area. It's 2 against Kevin at the moment.
It's Kevin Shaw's final bowl. This the 16th end. They're urging it on. It had a beautiful road. Has it done enough to save? I doubt it. I doubt it. Frank Kitchen weighed all up, but the bowlers will decide. And it looks as though eavesdropping there on Frank Kitchen's conversation with Duncan. It looks another 2.
Well, Frank has got those 2 blue lollipops in his right hand, and Frank has a very, very good eye.
2. Duncan,
And Kevin accepts that he's lost another 2. 20 to Brian Duncan, and poor Kevin Shaw has scored a single on only 3 ends of this match. So whoever laid the odds at the start of this tournament got it absolutely right.
Absolutely right. 5-1 Duncan, 16 Kevin. So they feared and respected Kevin, but the governor is in the mood. He's giving the Jack a bruising.
And that first bowl of Brian Duncan's might just be enough to win the tournament and allow him to take £7,500 away from the Woodlands Hotel this Sunday afternoon. This was not the match that everybody was expecting. I think many people expected Duncan to win it, but not this easily. So Kevin now putting probably his last bowl of the tournament up. What happens? He took the shot bowl out, but what has been left? He's left himself in.
Yep. Shaw won.
He stays alive, does Kevin Shaw. His score goes up to 4.
He's taking it well, Hugh, isn't he? What punishment this. We've seen some comebacks in the bus this year, but really, Kevin Shaw on his 5th game in the competition against Brian Duncan, who's in his 20th and is all but 4.
They've only met once before, I think. That was in the Tetley Coral at
Yes.
Petricroft last year.
That's right, in a major. That was the final, and it was a qualifier for this, Hugh. And Duncan won it, 41-38. That's after Kevin at 38-26 had sent 2 bowls off and never counted again. But he's counting now. Good luck to the lad.
Well, he's led well to his to the mark that he set. Kevin, of course, as is the tradition in most sporting events in this country, as very much the underdog, is getting as much encouragement as this crowd can find for him. But if Brian takes this bowl out, he will... Oh, he did get a contact, but he's killed the end. So dead end, jack in the ditch. He made contact with the shot bowl, which was what he was after, but also made contact with the jack. So the score stays at Kevin Shaw 4, Brian Duncan 20, and Kevin can set the mark again, as he does across the green. Thumb peg bowl, missed the line. Ryan has the running to beat the yellow ball. How close to the target is he going to be? Still a fair bit of space between that one ball and the jack, but, oh yes, that's the end of it.
Duncan!
Kevin Shaw has promoted Brian Duncan's bowl to within a foot of the jack. And that is the most comprehensive victory ever in this Bassmasters tournament. You got to feel sorry for the red-headed young man, Kevin Shaw from Bolton. But Brian Duncan, well, it's just another massive victory that he's chalked up in this great career of his. He has done so very much for the game of bowls. And again this afternoon, the Bassmasters 1990 winner. Well, in a moment or two, he'll be coming up to get this beautiful trophy that you can see down there. But just for a moment or two, let's look back on what's been happening during the week here.
Yes, we've had another marvellous 4 days here. The climax, well, not a great final, but a great performance by Brian Duncan. He's been playing some smashing bowls all week. Ruthless, the commentators have called the way he's played this week, and the determination that he's shown has been absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, he's the first man to win this fabulous championship on 2 occasions. Right, to the presentations. And first of all, a cheque for £3,500 to the runner-up. He didn't play possibly as he quite would have wanted to today, but he's 21 years of age. He'll be back. He's had a marvellous tournament. Kevin Shaw, ladies and gentlemen. And to make the presentations, Simon Hamlin, the Trade Development Manager for Bass Northwest. Simon. Just come over here, Kevin. Now, this is probably an even bigger ordeal for you, but what was it like playing the great man out there in a final of the biggest Crown Green Bowls Championship in the country?
Well, even though I've got beat very easily, I've thoroughly enjoyed the week here. He played fabulous then and really put me under a lot of pressure, really does. So, congratulations to Brian, and hopefully we'll try and get back here next year.
Is he the toughest opponent that you've faced in your brief career so far?
Well, certainly he's the #1, so he's always going to be a tough game, but I'd like to have played a little bit better myself, but he played excellent. And
you'll be back, won't you?
I hope so.
Of course you will. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Shaw. I'll stay here, Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1990 Bassmaster. He's won the Waterloo 4 times. He's now become the first person to win this championship on 2 occasions, winning it first in 1984. He's had a few mishaps down the years, but not this week. His performances have been truly outstanding. He's a legend in his lifetime in this game. He was the #1, he is the #1, and he could be destined to be the #1 for many years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Duncan. He says it's a long walk. The trophy first, and the cheque for £7,500. I think first of all, Brian, maybe a word for your opponent this afternoon, Kevin Shaw, destined to have a big future in this game.
Well, he's a very good player, and I think it's the first game this week that I've actually got in front, and as it usually goes when you get in front, you seem to have a little bit of rubs and that, and 1 or 2 ends early on, he played the nearest ball and run in the back of us, and that just seems the way it goes.
Leading, oh so important.
Well, that's the main thing of the game. I mean, I think in the semi-final with David Copeland, I think probably the biggest fault with me was the leading. I was struggling making a lead, and I was always struggling through the game, but in the final I've come out and I've led a lot better, and you get a lot more confident.
Do you still get excited by winning major championships?
Well, I do, and the cheque's not too bad, actually. No, I mean, I think if whatever sport you play to win, and you enjoy winning. I mean, we've all got to be good losers, because there's days when we don't play as well, or we play well and the opponent plays better, and we've got to accept it, but it's certainly nice winning.
I mean, it's the sort of thing we're criticised for asking as television presenters and reporters, but in your case, I'm going to make an exception. What is the key to your remarkable success down the years? 20 years you've been the #1 in this game.
Is that what they say? I don't know, really. I think it's just... I think half of it is I enjoy playing, and if you enjoy doing anything, you put the practice in and you put the time in, and I think the main thing with the game is concentration. If you can keep your concentration going, I think it's a big item.
Well, it's been a privilege to watch you play this week. It's been a very consistent week for you, hasn't it?
I have. I've been delighted with how I've played this week, because I think I've played every game, and I've really played a good game every game, even though I've been behind most of the games, but I'm quite happy with how I've played.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1990 Bassmaster, Brian Duncan. Well done again, Brian. Well, that's the end of another great week here at the Woodland Hotel at Ellesmere Port. We'd like to thank everybody responsible for here for making everything run very smoothly indeed, including, of course, Bass Northwest, for whom the sponsorship has been greatly appreciated. Brian Duncan's the winner. We'll see you again next year. From everybody here, it's a very goodbye to you. Bye-bye.